Yo, what's going on, Redefined? So listen, I just wanted to come to you all for Easter. Today is Easter. You're sitting at home. You're enjoying it with your family. You're enjoying probably a beautiful dinner tonight. I don't know. This is the only yellow shirt I could find. I know it says Keeneland. Just look past that. This is the only Easter outfit I could find. Obviously, the stores are closed. It's beautiful. I mean, it's spring. It's that time of the year. Things are coming to life just as Jesus came to life, and we celebrate today. I wanted to come to you for just a minute, Redefine, and I wanted to encourage you and to challenge you and to ask you, what is your perspective today? What is your perspective? Jesus resurrected. The last few days on our Zoom call, we talked about the Last Supper and how people treated him and the crucifixion. And in the crucifixion, they were yelling, "Crucify him, crucify him, crucify him." And then after they crucified him, it says they were in grief and they were in awe. Like, we can't believe we just did that. We can't believe we just crucified the King of the Jews, the King of Kings. And so I want to ask you today, as we celebrate a beautiful day today, as we celebrate Easter Sunday, listen, I'm coming to you on your phone today. Redefine is proclaiming and preaching the message that yes, he has risen. But I want to ask you today, what does that mean for you and what is next for us as a church, as a body, not just as Redefine, but as a church? What is next for us? Because Jesus today is the big deal. It's not the Easter bunny. It's not the cute yellow and the pink and the spring. But today, life is being put in perspective. There's so many people today that are going to come to follow Christ. There's so many people today that are going to hear the good message of Jesus Christ, the beautiful story, the beautiful things that Jesus did. People will hear about those today. And so I want to come to you today and ask you a question, Redefine. What is next for you? What is next for us? Jesus, when he left and when he came back, he was risen again. He had holes in his hands and in his feet. And he was walking on the road of he was walking on the road of Emmaus. And on this road of Emmaus, Jesus walked into one of his disciples, Simon, and then another man named Cleopatra. And he was talking to them on this road, and they didn't recognize him. And Jesus looked at them and he said, "Why do you have such a long face?" And they looked at Jesus and they said, "Do you not know what just happened?" At this point, they didn't really know who Jesus was. They didn't know that was Jesus. And so in that moment, Simon and Cleopatra were like, "Listen, the King of the Jews died. Do you not know this?" And Jesus looked at these two men, one of them his disciple of the 12, and he said, "Listen, do you not believe what was written in the Bible? Do you not believe the prophecies that have been fulfilled? I know you lost Jesus, but if you read the Bible, you would see that he is coming back 3 days later. And it's been 3 days. And so Jesus is looking at these two men right in their eyes, and they don't even recognize him. Wow. How many of us read this Bible, these stories, these things that Jesus has called the church to, that has called you to, individually, you, CT, Kate Marie, Carson, Lauren, Jasmine, Ella, every person watching this video today, as I just named just 5 or 6 students, everybody watching this video today, you have been called to be unified together in the church. The hands and the feet. I want to ask you a question because Jesus said what's next, and he released the Holy Spirit into the upper room. And when he came back, he released the Holy Spirit. People began to speak in tongues. People began to be set free, and Acts started. The church started. And that was what was next. That's what was next. You were next. Jesus sent out the disciples, the first 11, because Judas is gone at this point. And he says, "Listen, now is when it really starts. Now is when the impact has really been made. Now is where you go out and make a difference in your community. You make a difference in your home. You make a difference in your school." He says, "Now that I have resurrected, the game starts now." So I want to encourage you today. And I want to read something to you in 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians verse 27 says this. I'm going to read it just for a minute. It says, "All of you are together, are Christ's body." All of us together are Christ's body. First are the apostles, then the prophets, then the teachers, then the people who have the gift of healing, then those who can help others, and then those who have the gift of leadership, and then those who speak in unknown languages, known as tongues. It says, are we the apostles? Are we the prophets? Do we have the power to do miracles? Do we have the gift of healing? Do we have the ability to speak in tongues? Do we have the ability to interpret tongues? Do we have the ability to do these things? And it says, of course not. So you should earnestly desire the most helpful gifts, but let me show you a way that is best of all, Jesus says. Let me show you a way that is the best of all. Being unified together. These gifts are amazing. Unification is key. And Jesus died and he said, listen, this is what is next. The Holy Spirit coming in, giving you the gifts of speaking in tongues, giving you the gifts of apostleship and prophecy and all of these amazing things that you've all been called to. Some of you one, some of you another. But what is you? What are you today? Because God has called you today with a gift. He's given you a gift. And this is not a gifts message, but what it is a call to action. Because we are called to be the hands and the feet. One of you may be a head, one of you may be a hand. One of you will influence Dunbar, one of you will influence West Jess. One of you will just influence the people in your home from homeschool. Whenever we go back to school, whenever we wake up tomorrow, whenever we eat dinner tonight, are you making a difference like Jesus told us to do when he said, I've come back, now here is what is next. What now? What now, Redefined? Because Jesus rose again. So what does that mean for us? We can read our Bibles all day. We can spend our time in worship all day. But you are called to make a difference today. You are called to be a difference maker, Redefined. And I want to encourage you today. Listen, what is next for you? We've read about the crucifixion. We're celebrating the resurrection today. But what about tomorrow and the next day? Because Jesus didn't die for an Easter bunny. Jesus didn't die for a great dinner. Jesus didn't die for family time today. Jesus died so that you would understand what comes next. Building up his kingdom. Building up his kingdom. So today I want to encourage you. What are you doing today to build up the kingdom? When we go back to church and we're back in Redefined, what are you doing to make a difference? Who are you bringing to church? Who are you preaching the gospel to? But listen, we don't need a church. We are the church. We don't need a building. We don't need Redefined. But what we do need is believers like you to stand up and to celebrate the resurrection day today, on this day. Tell people about how good this message is. How good is Jesus? That is what we focus on today. It's Resurrection Day. Let's celebrate Jesus today. Every single one of you, because we were all bad. But now, because of this resurrection, we can all be good and turn those bad ways behind us. So I love you guys. I hope you have an incredible day today with your family. I miss you all. I'll see you all tomorrow at 4 o'clock for our Zoom call. Have a good day.